Ouch. Don't make this costly mistake relying on AI for 1031 exchange information. Is that a good idea or not? One mistake could cost you a fortune. Let's talk about the real experts you need and the critical steps to stay on track. Watch this video and let's hear what James has to say. You can do a deep dive with AI on how exchanges works, which brings up a good point, AI. If you are going to be doing an exchange, you sure don't want to be going to AI for the details of it. You might want to, you can go there and learn about the terminology and stuff, but you really want to work with professionals because, I know that chat hallucinates a lot to me. And I've actually asked chat for some calculations on some basic capital gains calculations, and they just miss it. They just in loan payments. So the thing is, you might learn some terminology from AI, but when you really want to get it done right, and because you don't want to make a mistake, because the mistakes can be very costly.
1 to 2 times a day, I'm going to get a call from somebody challenging me, saying that they chat GPT, they got some sort of artificial intelligence telling them this is exactly how it works. And I will tell you this, 100% of the time that I've been challenged so far, that part of what AI gave them is correct, but not everything. And when you don't have everything correct, well, now you're subject to failure. And when you're subject to failure, now you're subject to potentially capital gains tax. It is not worth it to go in that avenue because mistakes happen all the time, every single day.
Yeah,
I get questioned on this.
Yeah, which was interesting. In fact, you told me a story of a situation where somebody did something and they had a huge capital gains event. Can you the one that just happened before?
I had a client that had asked ChatGPT whether or not you could buy co-ops in a 1031 exchange, and it said that they do not qualify, which was true until recently. And in the last couple of years, with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, they do qualify. So because it said no, they did not want to do the exchange because that's all they wanted to purchase. And the exchange failed, or they just didn't do it. And they had to pay about $500,000 in capital gains tax because what they wanted to do was perfect. And that's all they wanted to do. And they relied on AI and it blew it. And they asked me later and I talked to them and I said, who told you that? Well, we just asked. Who'd you ask? We ChatGPT did.
Right.
Well, that's incorrect.
So why don't we actually talk about who should be involved in every step of the way? Because there's very strict rules. And if these rules aren't followed, you could actually end up having a taxable event.
I think that is so very, very important. So what I like to do is, however it's done, right? Whether a seller talks to me about it and I say, have you considered a 1031 exchange? Who's your realtor? Who's your tax advisor? What do you want to do? So before even thinking of listing the property, we have to get the players involved. So for any 1031 exchange, I would recommend using a real estate professional to sell the property. You could sell it on your own, but I just don't think that's the greatest idea. So a real estate professional that's selling the property needs to be involved. A qualified intermediary when you're doing a 1031 exchange is a mandatory, or else there is no 1031 exchange. You're going to need a closing agent. So on the West Coast, that's going to be an escrow officer that's in the mix. On the East Coast, they use attorneys out there, but you're going to need that closing agent that knows how to handle these transactions and to create the appropriate paperwork. We're all going to work together. I think a tax advisor also needs to be involved. Sometimes an attorney that might preside over certain more complicated scenarios, but definitely the tax advisor, the realtor, the escrow officer on the West Coast, and the qualified intermediary all need to be on the same page. And then the conversation with the seller needs to occur prior to listing the property for sale. It could be quick. This doesn't have to be a long conversation. Want to make sure it qualifies, want to make sure that you're the true owner of the property, the entity that owns the property, and we want to make sure you know what you're going to be buying. Maybe not the exact property, but you have an idea so you can make things happen quickly.
Yep. So I think having all the game plan set up front. So
and the lender. And the lender. So if they're going to get financing, get that out of the way.
Yeah, no, and you have that all put together. That's not a long conversation because all these people know exactly what we all do this stuff. As a real estate broker, I help people with this. As an exchange facilitator, you do that. So we know how to do this. So it's a matter, but with somebody that doesn't know, our customers, we educate them quickly. We show them the steps in the plan, and then we execute, and it's all done. So what happens is when things occur, when events occur, like the day that it closes escrow, that's a hard date. When these dates occur, there's no way of unwinding things. And so that's what happened here. Even though that they could come to you the day after they close escrow and go, oh, I want to do an exchange now.
Doesn't happen. And I still get about one of those calls a week. James, I'm ready to do this. I was told I have 45 days to set it up. Great. This is what I need to set it up. What do I do with the money? And then I say, what do you mean? What do I do with the money? Yeah, we got the check yesterday, but we still have the 45 days. No, it's done. If some transaction closes, and it doesn't matter if it's a reverse exchange, forward exchange, whatever exchange you want to call it, exchange legal documents must be in place and signed prior to closing, or else there is no 1031 exchange. You are a taxpayer.
It's a taxable event.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why it's important to get us involved upfront and early, understand what we need to do. And we set it up, and it's basically very painless. As real estate professionals, we can help you navigate the process, develop a strategy, and connect you with trusted experts for guidance. We're not legal or tax advisors, and you should consult with a qualified CPA attorney before making any real estate or 1031 exchange decisions. My name's Glenn Allen. I've been helping folks for the last 35 years navigate this real estate journey. Check it out below. There's a link for a playlist that covers all the questions that I asked James regarding 1031 exchanges.